But in terms of the coverage, before his death, the Goodlaw Project backed an open letter defending him against the plagiarism allegations, framing the press coverage as malicious, as you just set out, which in its inception, it wasn't. There were legitimate questions which a free press should be able to pursue.
No, that's absolutely false to say that it was not racist in its inception. In its inception was a blog post written by a man called Nathan Kofnas, who is a self-described eugenicist and would not balk at the description of himself as a racist. It was carried in the Daily Telegraph, and the headline was something like DEI diversity poster child. It was absolutely racist in its inception. Now, I do accept,
but I want to get to the root of the pressure, because you face some criticism yourself. You'll be aware of it online. There are some people who have argued that it was your initial campaign defending him, backing this open letter, onto which many prominent people signed on and then signed off, that established him as this international cause celeb and maybe added to the pressure. Maybe that set him up for the enormous fall that befell him.
That's a pretty contemptible thing to say, isn't it? That those who were desperately trying to keep him alive are responsible for his death. I don't really want to say more than that. It was the racist attacks in the media. Now, just to return to the point that you put to me a second ago, I do accept that there was some public interest in reporting on whether Professor Arday ought to have been appointed to that post. That public interest should have...
So you would say that there needs to be some accountability when it comes to the role that Cambridge University played in this?
I think there are reasonable questions to ask about the appointment of Professor Arday, and everybody. Black academics have been calling for this for months and years. Everybody wants appointments to be made on the basis of academic merit. But there was only one investigation that I have seen the result of, one independent investigation, which concluded that Dr. Arday, Professor Arday, was not guilty of plagiarism, and the intensity and the nature and the aggression, the mocking quality of the coverage after he had resigned as a chair, in circumstances where the media was being told directly, privately, publicly, repeatedly, and in
but I wonder whether that is
he was a suicide risk for the media to carry on.
But when I want to characterise the media, because I wonder,
absolutely extraordinary. Well, I wonder whether it's wholly the press, though, because the media. But those, if you want to hear what those around him think, they think that it was a racist media that has failed to learn the lessons from Princess Diana's death.
Yeah, but I want to come to that point. I want to come to that point, if I may, because I wonder if it is wholly the press, as you describe it. How much of this is the social media climate we live in? I mean, scandals like this, I'm sure you'd agree, spread like wildfire. We have a political class of commentators who all pile in. There is a social media climate pushed by algorithms, which you don't seem to refer to. And of course, the press responds to that.
You're joining the voices attacking somebody who was trying to keep Jason alive. Let me respond, though, to your point. The thing about social media, revolting though it is that people can turn it off. It is read by a small number of communities. It doesn't find its way, unless properly substantiated, into your public profile. Everybody knows that what is said on social media does not carry much evidential value. So it is very different in quality to the hundreds and hundreds of attacks that were carried in the Telegraph, in the Spectator, and I'm embarrassed to say, as somebody who would describe himself as liberal or left, in The Guardian. Okay. The Guardian's coverage was particularly damaging.
Sorry to press you, we've only a minute left, but you started this online petition. I see that it's got over 40,000 signatories.
It's got more than 80,000.
More than 80 now. Right? It's growing very fast.
Refresh.
It's growing very fast, which obviously points to the fact that many people agree with you. But are you fundraising off this? And what do you say to people who accuse you of fundraising so close to the death, within days of it, and before an inquest has been heard?
Have you bothered to substantiate those allegations before putting them to me?
I've been reading the social media comments over the weekend, which is why I'm interested in what your response to those comments have been.
You're capturing social media comments. You're taking comments from social media. You haven't checked them out. You're putting them to me online. And if you look at our page, the petition page, it does not have a fundraising ask. If you look at what happens to people who sign up to the petition, to the open letter to the Prime Minister, they do not get a fundraising ask. Right. So it is completely
I'm reading the
dishonest.
thread from Barbara Rich, who's the retired Chancery barrister, who obviously talks about mental health issues, death, inheritance issues, those sort of things, and understanding law. And some of the comments on that thread that I read pointed to the role of the Goodlaw project in defending him, but also the fundraising that has gone on around it.
There has been no fundraising asks in connection with Professor Arday's death. It is absolutely true that we do not have Elon Musk or J.K. Rowling or Paul Marshall paying our bills. We are proudly funded by members of the public. And I have to say, I think it is disgraceful for the BBC to take lies from social media about our fundraising off the back of Professor Arday. We have not done that. I was very clear and very explicit, and we have not done it, and present them as the truth on national television.
Well, I don't present them as the truth. I'm asking you the question about it, and you've responded to it. I'm not presenting it as the truth. I've put the question to you, and you've responded.
No, you took a false allegation from social media, and you presented it to me as a real question.
Joylon, thank you very much for coming on the programme. I appreciate it.